To all who come to this happy place, welcome.
Welcome to the Talk About the Magic podcast, where you'll find inspiration and encouragement tied together with the magic of Disney. Now, here's your host, Joseph Ballesteros.
What is going on, Magic Shows? Welcome to Talk About the Magic. I hope you're having a wonderful day today. It's Sunday. This is episode 127, I believe. If you're not aware, I've been doing daily Disney podcasts, Monday through Friday, and then Sunday, leaving it the way it is, which is where we get an awesome interview. So welcome. If it's your first time here, please be sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future podcasts. And the reason why I'm talking so quickly is because we have a jam-packed awesomeness show, if that's a thing. I think actually this is episode 127, not 126. Anyway, it's an awesome show with Leo and Britt from the Main Street Press. You probably know of them from Instagram. They do some amazing designs for clothes, and we talk about their story, we talk about their journey. So I'm going to stop talking now. Be sure, of course, to check out the show notes for all of the links and everything like that, and how you can support the podcast. But I want to get into today's show because it is just jam-packed with valuable information. So without further ado, let's get into our interview with Leo and Brittany. Hello, Britt and Leo. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hey!
I'm actually excited that you guys are on here, and I forgot to tell you this, Leo, right now, but I was doing some app updates, and I saw that on what's this app called right here? Oh, geez. Oh, Slack. You apparently were in a group with me as well as friends from Yoho Disney, and I was like, huh? What? So there you go. So I'm excited to have you guys on the show today. Obviously, if the Magic Cheers aren't aware, what Main Street Press is, they probably are aware because you guys have really just conquered, at least in my feed, Instagram, and not just from your own posts, but because so many people are, using your products, using your shirts and everything like that. So I'm really excited to have you on is what I'm trying to say. But
yeah, I'm excited. It's good to be here.
Glad to be on.
So before we get into, all the details here, though, I'd love for you guys to just give a brief little background of yourself to let the listeners know kind of more, where you guys come from and how even you guys met.
Yeah, I'll let Brittany start if you want.
Hi, everyone. I'm Britt from sunny South Florida. Leo and I have been married for 5 years. We are both actually from Florida, Disney lovers, and I am girl boss, co-owner of the Main Street Press.
And my name is Leo, same as what she said. She left out the fact that we have 2 pups that run around the shop all day, Tito and Lily. And I'll tell you more about it, but I was actually not a big Disney park lover growing up. And then Brittany actually converted me to the Disney side. So,
oh, nice.
It's been a fun process, but I've always been super creative and into, making things with my hands and art and things like that and music. So, this was kind of a natural progression in a series of things. So that's pretty much us.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think, just to kind of give perspective as well, when did the Main Street Press actually start?
We started it, beginning of last year. So January is when we kind of had the concept, but we didn't officially fire it up until February.
So we're coming up for 1 year anniversary.
That is awesome. That's insane. That's so cool because you guys are so young and over already 22,000 followers on Instagram. That's really, really cool.
It's been insane. It's grown really fast.
Well, that's what I was about to say. Being that it grew so fast, nobody expects it, right? We all hope for it, but nobody expects that what we're going to do is just going to take off. How has it been? How has this past year been with all of this, changes that have actually happened in your own life because of the Main Street Press?
I think it's a little different for each one of us. I'll let Brittany start because her background was really different from Main Street Press before this. Just kind of tell them what you used to do.
Yeah, so I professionally was a tax accountant for 11 years. I worked for an accounting firm doing tax and finances. So the Main Street Press is totally opposite from what I'm used to, but I love it. It's been a really fun creative outlet for me. To be able to collaborate with Leo, who is very creative, and come together to create these fun designs for everyone.
when you were saying it was unexpected, I mean, when we first started Main Street Press, I remember we bought this crappy little press from like Amazon, and we were like, yeah, we're going to screen print shirts and this is going to be great. And I remember thinking to myself, like, man, if we can sell 100 shirts like in a month or two, this would be like great. Like, this will be awesome. It was totally worth it. And like, that was our little itty bitty goal to do that. And, kind of we took a few steps, and when we first started, I'll never forget it, we opened the shop, and like the first night it sold like one shirt and Brittany was like totally bummed out, but we just kind of like looked at a few things that people were doing, and we kind of made some changes to what we were doing, and by the second month it just started taking off, and it was really in relation to a few things that we did that we'll talk about later when we get into it, but yeah, it was totally mind-blowing that you can set something up, and as long as you provide a good product, like, people will purchase it. That was really weird to me. Like, I've never done anything like that. So that was pretty cool.
Well, yeah, that definitely is one of those things where it just like you said, I mean, you provide a good product, but even at that, you're still hoping that people are going to see that it's a good product and that they're going to be, willing to purchase. I mean, that, and like being that, Britt was an accountant and everything, how did you guys even get the motivation to say, you know what, let's do this, let's try this out?
Definitely, like we said before, my love for Disney. I was a big small shop supporter even before the Main Street Press came along. So I was always on Etsy, always online, looking for new shirts and new parkwear before all of our Disney trips to wear myself. And, we would always just say, oh, it would be so fun to do this. We could do this. We have the skills to do this. And finally, we just bit the bullet and jumped in.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give a few shout outs to people that really kind of inspired us. First and foremost, I think the person that Britt would always get stuff from, it wasn't shirts, but she would always buy ears from Brooke. Bibbidi Bobbidi Brooke was like huge. And she would always buy ears from her. And then through her, we found other companies like Happily Ever, Nicolina over there, doing her thing, Pretty Little Monograms, just a bunch of great shops. Yep, Cakeworthy, Leslie K over there. So we just saw what they were bringing to the table, and I mean, if in anything creative, there's always a gap, right? Like you always look for like a gap. So I thought to myself, like, man, this stuff is really great. It's very princess oriented. I wanted to make stuff that was a little bit more kind of like parody on Disney stuff, but not making fun of it, but just like Disney cult fan stuff. Yeah, So we just found a lane and kind of stuck to it, but those shops were doing it big. I mean, Happily Ever, they're huge. Nicolina runs a really great company over there, and she kind of gave us a little bit of a motivation and kind of like an idea of how to like pursue it and tackle it. So yeah, there's no big secret there. Find people that are successful and try to do what they do, maybe do it a little better, try to do something better, but in your own way,
I love that. Because that's the truth. I mean, that's why I'm doing this podcast mostly, because I've looked up to so many other people who run a podcast, and I of course, many of us. I don't know if you guys are in a podcast or not, but many of us know who Lou Mangello is, whether you are or not.
Give your shout outs, man. Give your shout outs.
No, he's awesome. He was actually on the show. He's actually a really, really awesome guy. But what's funny is when I first started to do all this, I always looked. I would every time I would search for something to do with Disney, he would always pop up, and I'm like, who is this guy? Like, I didn't. And lo and behold, I found out, this guy apparently is like the godfather of podcasts of Disney. So when I first started, I didn't want to be Lou. But it just kind of was happening that way. And you're right. You kind of just got to find something that kind of makes you a little different and then really get to it. But and eventually it did come. And I think that's what's important that, the listeners to realize, and when you first start, you not to say on purpose you're going to be just copycatting everything. But, it does take a little time maybe for you to find where you fit in and what makes you unique.
You got to find a lane.
Exactly.
And that comes with time.
Yeah.
If you stick to it long enough, you start to get the same thing with like blogging, what am I going to blog about? Well, everyone starts off like a lifestyle blogger, right?
Yeah.
And then after a while, it becomes like finely tuned into like your voice. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I agree with that.
So now that you decided that you had this idea, you wanted to pursue it, what was the next process? What was your next step? to actually create? I know you said you bought a kind of a cheaper version of a printing on from Amazon, but what was that process like?
So once our press came in, we actually had to learn how to screen print because we had never screen printed before. So cue lots and lots of YouTube videos and late nights and practices and trial and errors until we actually got a good T-shirt.
Shout out to Ryan from Ryonet. If anyone who screen prints knows who that is.
Ryan from Ryonet is the godfather of screen printing.
Now that sounds fun, but also I'm sure at times extremely frustrating. How long did it take for you to actually say, okay, finally we got this, we can do this?
A few weeks, right?
Yeah, I think like when we first, the first press was horrible and it wasn't able to really do anything. As a matter of fact, like we only kept, like out of the entire kit, we've kept the most inexpensive items from the kit and the rest just went into the garage because it was just worthless. But after we got a good press, it took like a month to kind of just get the hang of it and just know exactly. Now, here's the thing, right? Like you can print a shirt. How good the shirt is going to be really depends on your skill set. But I mean, you can print anything, right? Mm-hmm. But we made a decision from the beginning to not send out garbage to people. Like we're not going to send out subpar quality. So after about a month, it just started getting more consistent. You know, like lots of studying and lots of practice, and it became, a product we could sell.
And how long does it take for you guys like to actually come up with an idea and then kind of sketch it out and create it to where then you can put it onto a shirt? What's the process of that like for you guys?
Yeah, so we both have sketchbooks that we sketch in usually like before bed at night. We just write down ideas and we just do a little bit of drawing, and when something kind of sticks and we feel good vibes from it, then we'll start focusing on that design. And Leo will fine tune it. We've collaborated with some artists too, like our Everest design.
Shout out to Adam Grayson.
Yep. So, we just fine tune the design till it looks perfect and it looks like, the customers will want it.
Yeah, I think basically what she said, we have the sketchbooks. I'm always doodling, always sketching, always coming up with stuff. So I guess if you were to say how long does it take, like coming up with the idea, I can't quantify that, but from the moment that we sketch it and we have like a final idea for the sketch, I mean,
I'd say maybe 3 to 4 weeks sometimes, maybe a month.
Yeah, like a month. I think a month to kind of like to get it all done.
Yeah.
Yeah, because once we have the design ready, then we have to decide on what color shirts we want to use, what color inks we want to use. So that takes a little bit of trial and error too.
So what has that gets a perfect lead into the next one then? What has been kind of the difficult thing, whether it was when you first started or even a consistent thing that kind of is a little more difficult when it comes to running the Main Street Press?
What are some of your frustrations?
I talk a lot. Do you want to go first? Yeah, you know what yours is.
When we first started, it was just a lot of late nights, and also we do this from home. So I think just this is like an ongoing thing. Anyone who works from home can probably empathize that. Just having that balance to be able to like step away from it and not catch yourself working 24/7.
But it's fun too. So it's kind of like since we enjoy it, you want to do it all the time, but you can burn out if you don't just force yourself to just stop. I think that's a really good point. I think for me, the difficult side of this is kind of just staying organized. Like you do a product rollout, it's not all right. Let's just print a shirt and that's it. Like I guess you could do that if you have just like a little store that you do as a hobby. Literally, Tito, stop. My little dog is crying. But like when you're actually like starting to roll stuff out, you got to think about like the social media, like how you're going to do it, who you're going to promote the product with, like, who you're going to network with to get it out, logistically getting all the product in and making sure it's printed correctly. And so just keeping everything organized for me has been the most frustrating part because, all you need is one bad comment on your Instagram or, a few bad reviews and forget about it. Like you start getting a bad rap, you know?
And did you guys actually start with your own website immediately, or did you start off in Etsy, or did you start straight with the website?
Yeah, we first started on Etsy. So we were making to order. So as the orders came in, as they trickled in slowly, we would make the shirts and send them out. Now we have our own website. Our inventory is stocked and ready to go when we open our shop, so we can just pack and ship it, send it right out.
Hey, can I say a little something about Etsy?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, we started on Etsy, so we're totally, we understand it's a simple solution and everything. But let me tell you, from my experience, the moment we switched from an Etsy and went to a legitimate website, we saw, I'd say easily 500% increase in business. Am I lying?
Yeah.
Like, it was just night and day, man, because when you have an Etsy, people's like, oh, okay, this is like, cute little couple, and they're crafting in their living room. And so it's very easy to kind of overlook it, and it's very easy. Honestly, people steal from Etsy all the time. I can't tell you how many shops that we talk to that they're literally posting pictures of other shops that have stolen their stuff, or people sending them requests to copy their own designs, which is like insane.
Wow.
And it's Etsy, so if you want to step it up, it's something that you really want to do legitimately, I can't tell you how many of our friends, our shop, pals, that switched from Etsy to like a Wix or a Shopify or what's the other one?
WordPress?
No. The other paved for it's the
it's big right now, right? Squarespace.
Squarespace. There you go, my man. Yep. They switched to one of those, and it just legitimizes the whole operation, So I highly recommend it. If you can get off of Etsy, do it.
I think you bring up a really good point, because we've had Etsy owners on here, and also we had another guest on here, Casey and the Bear from the
Hey, what's up, Casey?
Yeah, and she also has her own site and everything, and so what's interesting to me, I think this is bringing up a good point, because I think a lot of people are intimidated to take that step, right? I mean, Etsy, the whole draw to things like Etsy and everything is how easy it is, because it's like, you just do this and we'll do everything else for you. And I think it's important to kind of take account to exactly what you just said. You get to the next level. I mean, it's fine to start there, but if you're serious about it, I mean, why wouldn't you want to take it to the next level and kind of make yourself more established? With places like Squarespace and Wix and everything, creating the website is not as intimidating as it used to be. And so, I think that's a really good point, because I think there's a lot of people who are very successful on Etsy, but they could probably be better if they just went to that next level, like you just said.
And again, it really depends. Like if you're making like, cross-stitching stuff or something like that, like you really are crafting, then I think that's a great marketplace for that. That's a good place to be. But if you're looking at doing apparel or you're selling any other kind of goods and you really want to look like a professional business, I can't sing enough praise. I mean, it's expensive. It costs you money. It's not free, but man, the benefits are just endless. Like it's been really great. I don't know how you feel, Britt.
Yeah, I feel like it really helped us to establish our brand when we were ready to take it to the next level as well. So that's definitely a recommendation we have for businesses looking to grow.
And you guys, you do open up your shop. And so is it kind of just the supply and demand kind of thing, where it's like, we're going to open it up, let people buy, and then, make them want, making them want a more kind of deal? Or is it just because literally it's like, okay, we need to kind of take a break here and kind of reassemble everything together and then come out again?
Yeah, it's literally just the two of us in this together. So we found that schedule allows us the time to make sure we have everything stocked and printed. We've been restocking all of our designs every time we open, every different style and color. So it really just takes us that much time to get the, blank apparel in and get it all printed and ready to go.
I like the idea too of the password, the password on the shop, because there's so many places where people can buy, and you can pretty much log on anywhere. But I feel like our friends that kind of log on and they sign up for the mailing list, they get the password. We've gotten all kinds of emails like, man, we're so thankful. We're so happy that you make it this way so that like loyal customers can get in and get the stuff they want and not have to like worry about it selling out in like 5 minutes.
I was about to say that. I mean, that's really good because exactly. And not only that, I mean, you guys are also able to see who is sincerely wanting to get into this as far as to purchase, an item or something. So, not to say you're turning down people, but, when people are willing to give that email to get a notification, you're opening your shop soon and everything like that, that's just showing that they are literally wanting to buy. And that's a smart move there.
Yeah, you nailed it on the head. Like, we were like, man, like, we want to know who really wants to, customers are great, but we want, like, super fans, fans, like, people that love it. And if you're willing to put your email in there to wait to get a password to shop, that means that you really, really like our product. Yeah. So, and people are kind of intrigued by that, right? Like, you want something you can't.
Kind of like exclusivity,
Yeah. Not in a snobby way, though.
Yeah, no, definitely not. But I definitely understand where you're coming from. It's a really, and it's definitely different, and that's what I like about it. And it's the thing is, I really like it because it sets you apart. Because like you just said, you can get a lot of stuff from a lot of different places. When you are, exclusive in that kind of way, it's like, we're a special kind of people. We're a Main Street Press kind of people. You know what I mean? And that's awesome. I love that. That's a cool thing. So what would you say would be your favorite thing, that you've gotten from running this shop over this past year?
For me, it's kind of twofold. Obviously, I love every time we get tagged in a photo and to see all these family photos all over Disney. One of my favorite places to vacation and go to, wearing our shirts around the parks and being a part of their family vacations has been really, really awesome. Mm-hmm. And then hopefully I'm not stealing yours, but I was going to say the other thing is just connecting with all the different friends we've made in the Disney community. It's been really awesome. We've met a ton of people, just in the year that we've been open, and people that now, are genuinely our friends, and we're planning, future Disney trips with together. So it's been really great.
So everything that she said, and I think the other thing that I really like is when we get a chance to, we don't get to do it much because so many people hit us up and ask us, but hopefully they're listening to your podcast and they're getting some answers. But I really like helping people, kind of like sharing the information that I've learned, because there wasn't a whole lot of resources available like when we started this up a year ago. Mm-hmm. So just kind of sharing the resources when it comes to screen printing, when it comes to kind of handling a lot of the graphic design stuff and connecting with people. I just like sharing info. So we've met some really great shops, and I've learned from a lot of awesome people like Aaron from Lost Boys. I'm going to confuse them. Well, it's Man in the Mouse, but it's not Lost Bros.
Lost Boys, yeah.
Yeah, Lost Boys. Let's try that again. I'm going to run that back, all right?
Well, what's funny is I just discovered them through someone else's Instagram feed. So, yeah, definitely it's one of those things where, like you just said, I mean, that's the good thing, right, about social media, because unfortunately there's a lot of bad things about social media, but that's the really good thing about it, because thanks to social media, I'm able to get people like yourselves on the show and be able to talk with you guys, and I'm able to interact and also be able just to enjoy Disney as a fan as well, because of different accounts that show the magic, or that, people who are able to go on the trips. And so, yeah, I mean, that's really good point, because social media is good in that aspect. So
I feel bad. I got to redeem myself. It's the Lost Boys Club. There's Lost Bros Trading Co., which we love them too, and then there's the Lost Boys Club, which is Aaron, Walt's Wardrobe. Those are like my boys. We share a lot of info together and help each other out. So sorry about that, guys.
I'm sure they're fine with that. Now I do want to I mean, because this is perfect again segue, because you mentioned you love helping people. So what would you guys suggest for that person who maybe wants to start getting into clothing themselves, or maybe they just want to start creating and designing things to hopefully eventually sell? What would be kind of a suggestion for them?
I think that this is where, Etsy is your friend. So start small, kind of create your own look, your own brand and image, maybe doing the make to order stuff for a little bit until you get established. Also, social media is huge. So I know with us at first, We reached out to a lot of companies who were kind of in our same beginning phases, a couple that were maybe like a little ahead of us, to reach out to do, contests and giveaways with together, and just we created like a group chat to kind of like support each other. So just reaching out to get that support from others who are at your same stage is a really great growing tool. Then you can all grow together.
Yeah, I'm going to concur with that. And I'm also going to emphasize the need to be genuine. People can tell when you're not passionate about something. People can tell when you're just kind of in it to maybe make a dollar. And I think when you connect with people on a personal level and you share like a passion for something, they can sense that. They can pick that up. So like all the people that we create with and we collaborate with, I mean, they can run circles around us on knowledge when it comes to people that are, influential in the Disney world, artists, designers, architects, stuff like that. So when you have that genuine passion and love, it comes through in your product. So that's what I would stress. Be genuine. Be genuine about what you're doing.
That's awesome. Again, it goes back to what you said before, which is that might come, a little later as far as trying to discover your voice. But I agree 100%. The worst thing you can do is try to copy, because there's already one person in the world who's like that. They don't need two. You know what I mean? Like let's let yourself come through and be different in that way. But we are now at the point where we go into our Disney Power Round.
You have like sound effects?
Oh.
Disney Power Round.
Oh, yeah, I do. But that's all post-edit. It's cool.
And now it's time for the Disney Power Round, where we talk favorite parks, tips, and tricks for your magical Disney trip. Let's bibbity-bobbity do this.
So, starting out, I'm just going to throw it out there. I think I know the answer, but what would be your favorite park, and what is one thing that you love about it?
Let me ask you about what do you think my favorite park is?
I would...
He says it all.
I think I might have spoke too soon, because I'm assuming it's going to be obviously in Disney World, but I could be wrong. You're on the right track. Okay. Let me see. Let me look. Let me cheat here.
And this is Leo. So
I'm going to I'm going to your Instagram account. I'm cheating right now. I would say Animal Kingdom.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's mine.
Ding, ding, ding. That's Leo's favorite. Why do you like Animal Kingdom?
I like Animal Kingdom because the aesthetics are so detailed. Like every nook and cranny is packed with like some kind of cultural reference or detail. And you can spend a whole year in there just kind of checking out all the different, even down to the little stickers that they put on the garbage cans are like, somebody designed that, and I think it's incredible.
Can't wait for Avatar to open. We keep going every time and seeing the big walls up and open already. Yeah, we're excited.
Yeah, I'm really stoked for it too. One of our buddies was down there. I forgot the name of the guy he was like responsible for like all the aesthetics and stuff in Animal Kingdom. I'm gonna kick myself for not remembering.
The Joe Rohde or Rohde?
Yep. He was walking around the park when my buddy Aaron from Man in the Mouse was there, Lost Boys Club. Yeah, he was walking around because he had like this ridiculous earring, like just hanging. And so dude, I'm like, if he's involved with it, I'm stoked because there's not a single. Like I said, every nook and cranny in that park is detailed, so I know that park is just gonna. That part of the park.
Avatar Land's gonna look amazing.
It's gonna be crazy.
Yeah, if anybody's ever not sure if they're seeing Joe Rohde or not, just look at that ear. If he got that earring,
it's ridiculous.
Look for the bling.
Exactly. Yeah, that's him. Avatar definitely looks. I'll say this. I was definitely like, I don't know, But then when I saw the clip of the actual like Avatar animatronic, supposedly that they're gonna have talking like that at the end, I was like, oh my goodness, this is real life happening right now. I don't know about that. It's like, it's real.
We used to have a plug, man. We used to have Brittany through her accounting days. Used to have somebody that did like, was he doing the animatronics too?
Mm-hmm. He worked on special effects with Disney.
Oh, wow.
I'm actually looking at a piece of like was this from the Mine Train?
Yeah, we have this emerald jewel in our shop downstairs that he gave me. It was from the Pirates of the Caribbean. at the Magic Kingdom. The little thing that they created, I can't remember the name right now, but it's like the interactive things that they have on the side of the ride.
Okay. On Mine Train?
Or
Pirates?
It's on Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, anyway, so he gave me one of these little emerald gems from the ride that you have to like put to touch to get the pirate to come up out of the water. So it's an awesome keepsake that I have. I keep on my desk inside the shop.
That's so cool, man.
To remember that. But yeah, we did his accounting work for him, and he did special effects at the parks.
You didn't tell him the coolest part. He used to make the heads for like all of the.
Oh yeah.
Oh well, wow.
He had someone. Yeah, he had a guy in his company who did all of the heads for the characters at Disney World. Wow. It was awesome. And the first time I went to his shop in Orlando to do some work, I was like so nervous to go because I didn't want to be freaked out by just seeing character heads all over the place. It was a little traumatizing for me. It was cool, but traumatizing at the same time.
Oh man, I can imagine. Yeah, I love it. I mean, one of my favorite things is Carousel Progress, just because of that. It's like the first, kind of real life animatronic that we see Disney doing, and all the detail and all the care that they took. It's just, I love it. It's so cool. So that's what I'm saying. I was a little nervous about Avatar because I was like, they should have got Harry Potter, but in the end, it's cool. I'm excited to check it out.
That's gonna be awesome, man.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Have you seen how you can like see the attractions like poking out from in the distance?
Yeah.
And it's just, oh my gosh.
It
looks like it's definitely bigger than the tree, right? The tree of life.
Yeah. It is up there. I'm very excited for that. So, what about you, Brett? What is your favorite park and one thing you love about it?
My favorite park is definitely the Magic Kingdom. I just love the whole aura atmosphere, like walking down Main Street and hearing the music and smelling the delicious smells of the bakery and confectionery. It just, when you catch that first sight of the castle, it's just, it so immerses me and it's just so magical. I love it.
A strong second for me is Magic Kingdom because my favorite attraction in all of the parks is probably, I'm going to mess up their names, but it's the Main Street Philharmonic, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the marching band. Yeah. They're my favorite. Like, every time they're playing, I have to stop what I'm doing.
Yeah, we have to watch them multiple times.
Yeah. What's crazy is I've still not been able to catch a show. We're always doing something. Man. It's usually we're eating or going to a fast pass on Mine Train because I'm from Texas, so when we go, we're like boom. You know what I mean? Like everything is, Hey,
Walt's Wardrobe is from Texas. You should hit them up.
Oh, thank you. Actually, no, I haven't hit them. I am following them, so I'm gonna do that.
They're in Houston, right? Yeah, we're actually gonna be in Houston for their wedding. So, yep.
Oh, awesome. All right, so I'm gonna say Leo told me to hit you guys up. All right. All right. So, what would be your tip then for the first time Disney goer?
My tip is don't pay for water. I always tell anyone who I hear going for the first time, don't pay for water. You never have to pay for water at Disney. They give it to you for free at any of the quick service restaurants, any of the sit downs. Even Starbucks gives you free. You can get a free venti water there. So you can bring bottles of water into the park. So if you're trying to save some money, save it on the water. Spend it on a donut or a treat at the bakery.
Yes.
My tip would be don't try to do everything in a day. That's part of why I hated Disney at first because, you see it all the time, especially now that we live out of state. We have friends that are like, yeah, we're going to be in Florida for the weekend. So we'll hit Disney on Saturday and we're going to do all 3 parks, and they don't plan any fast passes, no nothing. So if you have one day to do something, try to plan it in advance as much as you can and just take it easy. Hit a couple of attractions, take a break in the middle of the day or something, hit a pool or if you can, and just kind of take it easy because when you jam it all in there, it's you're not going to have a good time.
Sometimes it can make for a miserable trip.
Yeah.
It's really...
Unless it's slow season. If it's slow season, then you can get away with it. But,
if you're going at Christmas time, don't expect to do everything. Otherwise, you're going to come home.
you're going to stand in line all day. That's all you're going to do.
Yeah, that is so true. That is, it's funny because I the way I always like to kind of put it in is it's like eating a huge chocolate cake by yourself in like 2 minutes. You know what I mean? Like that slice is awesome, but when you eat the entire cake and you eat it so quick, you're like, oh, it's the same thing. Like Disney is something you need to savor, you need to enjoy, and it'll be there. Go to a pool, go relax, exactly like you said, you know, and come back. And because when we went our first year as a family in 2014, I had gone when I was younger, so I was all thinking like this is going to be the greatest thing. My wife hated it though, pretty much for the same reason why you just said. Like it was too much. Like she didn't get to enjoy it. And so from then on, we said, okay, so we've been using a friend of ours as an agent, and she just takes care of everything now. And we just now we get to enjoy the park. You know what I mean? We just get to relax and have everything out. So definitely agree with that.
Brit's the reason. Like I'm telling you, I was so. I even bought shirts of like Disney stuff that wasn't so nice, like Mickey Rat and stuff.
Yeah, Mickey Rat.
Yeah, because I hated going to the parks, man. Like it was the worst. And then like Brittany finally said, you know what? Like I'm gonna plan your trip. So she planned it all out. We stayed at a Disney hotel. Like we took breaks in the middle of the day. We had I never waited in line for anything. We ate at like Boma and like all these awesome places. Dude, I was sold. I'm like, listen, I will go to Disney any day of the week. Like, you know, so yeah, if you got somebody that can plan it out for you and you just take your time, man, it'll change your whole disposition on the parks.
And also maybe to like compromise a little bit because, you know, like for example, I had a friend who was at Disney last weekend, and her husband is, you know, new at getting into Disney. And they had the football playoffs on last weekend. So instead of her being like insistent on staying at the park all night, she went back to the hotel and let him watch the game for a few hours, you know? So it's like all about compromise, make everyone in the family happy.
And honestly, it's a very good point too, because I know like the first thing you think of is like, are you crazy? You're at Disney and you're going to go watch football in your resort. But honestly, Disney is all about memories. And so what's fun to me about stuff like that is that's still a memory. Like, do you remember when we were at the resort and we got to relax and watch football? Like, oh, like it's still there. You know what I mean? And
exactly.
That's what I love about it. Just creating those kind of memories.
Mm-hmm.
So then,
dead spot on, brother.
So what would be your tip then for someone who goes multiple times?
That'd be like, what would we give? Advice would we give ourselves?
Exactly.
I think, like, for us, we try to add in one new attraction or one new restaurant each time we go, because sometimes you get kind of, like, comfortable in the same routine. Like, I want to ride the same, you know, all my favorites, obviously, and eat at my favorite places. So we just try to maybe switch it up and put one new thing in each time to keep it new and fresh.
Yeah, I would say definitely, like, I avoided. Hold on, let her check on the dogs while I answer this question. I say for me, I would try to get to different restaurants and try different stuff. It's pretty easy to go to like the basic stuff. Like you're starving, and then you're like, oh, I'm in Tomorrowland, and then you just walk right into the biggest place to grab something to eat that's nearby. But they have some really good culinary options like all throughout their different resorts and things like that. So. I would say if you go there a lot, there's actually like really good food that's not, you know, corn dogs and popcorn and like a Mickey bar. Like try to get to some of the nicer restaurants and experience it, because the food is actually really good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Really, really good.
Really good.
Boma. Shout out to Boma. Shout out to Boma.
Shout out to Boma. Boma Coma.
And also, where did we have the naan bread? It was in Sanaa. Man, listen, if you haven't had the naan bread in Sanaa,
I've heard it is good.
You're playing
I have
yourself.
not had it, and I've heard it is really good. We actually just for the first time experienced the Sci-Fi Diner there in Hollywood. And oh my gosh, it is an experience like incredible. We loved it so much. So I'm definitely on board with that. You want to try new things, you know, because Disney does not take shortcuts. They do good on everything. So you're not going to just be disappointed.
Well, they're going to give you, if you want the stinking corn dog and you want the chicken fingers, they're there for you. But, I mean, all the good stuff, you got to have reservations, you know, you got to like know where to go. So
yeah, definitely plan ahead and go on the website, check out the menus, see where you want to eat.
Disney Food Blog, shout out Disney Food Blog.
There you go. That's what I haven't heard, so I'm gonna check that out for sure.
Oh, you know what's funny, and we didn't tell you before, and I know we're probably eating up all your time, but whatever.
No, that's fine.
Bro, Main Street Press before this, it was originally Take Me to Disney, which was like a Disney blog that like Brittany started, and I was helping her do it, and then that's why our first shirt was Take Me to Disney, because that was like our blog.
Oh, wow.
So, and our original inspirations for that, I mean, are the OGs like Tom and Sarah Bricker, you know, All Ears, Disney Food Blog. Like, we were all over those sites trying to figure out kind of where we were going to fall in, but we ended up getting into apparel instead.
Well, that's interesting. So you guys technically didn't even plan to do apparel then. It was something that you kind of, like you just said, you fell into, or were you still planning to do apparel all this whole time?
No, like the blog, right?
Yeah, I just started with the blog because people were always asking me for tips and tricks on Disney, so I had started that blog the summer before Main Street Press even came into existence, and it was with that little following that I had gained on social media with the blog that we launched.
300 people, man.
We launched that little following. We launched the Main Street Press.
That's
yeah,
awesome.
we totally left that out, but you can go back and put it in there. But yeah, it started with passion for Disney with a blog.
I love that. That is so awesome because it literally took you to somewhere else that, you know, again, it goes back to you start with something and you think like, this is it. It's going to work out perfectly. And sometimes no. Sometimes you, like you just said, you're going to find a different lane. You're going to find your own lane, and you'll discover by actually something I heard that I really believe, I really do think it's true for so many of us, that we just have to realize it, which is you have to leave something good to get into something great, you know? And it's like, yeah, you started a blog like everyone else, you know, you're doing your thing, you're all excited, you're pumped, I know what that feels like. You publish, you know, on the website, like, it's on the internet, here it is, everybody can read it. and all of a sudden it's like, but all of a sudden you just start kind of veering, and like you said, let's try this out, see what happens, and all of a sudden it just takes off, and you can't be afraid to let go of what's good to get a hold of something great, and that's, I'm so glad you just told me that, because that's so cool. I love
those
that.
old videos are still up there, man. They were like really like reporter style. Like Brittany's like
Oh my God,
in the middle of like the Frozen parade. She's like reporting live from Frozen summer party. Like,
we're gonna have to link that in the show notes for sure.
Yeah, dude, it was so
they're out
bad.
there somewhere.
That's
They're on
awesome.
YouTube.
Yeah.
So before we kind of end it here, guys, I want to definitely give you guys a time to let everyone know, where do they find Main Street Press, you know, the website, Instagram, all that good stuff. Go ahead and let out all your social media links and everything like that.
Yeah, you can send us an email anytime at hello@themainstreetpress.com. And we are on Instagram. Our Instagram name is The Main Street Press. And we are on Facebook also as The Main Street Press. So send us an email, a DM. We try to answer all of them. We really love to communicate with everybody. So send us your questions or comments.
I personally follow you guys on Instagram, of course, and I gotta say, guys, follow their Instagram as well. It's awesome, colorful. But I love the live videos that you did. Like what I don't like is that Instagram, I mean, I guess it's good and bad, but once you go live and then you turn it off, like, that video's gone. So there's no way.
I kind of like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's a hit and miss. It's good.
Yeah.
But then it's bad for people like me who like just saw the last 2 minutes. And I'm like, no.
Yeah. Right.
Because I didn't get it in time.
Vacation already off.
Yeah. So I gotta bring this up because I was watching it. Yeah, you guys for sure, y'all got a basement full of shirts. That's not a joke. Y'all, you know, people say that sometimes, like, oh, if you saw my work, like, no, straight up, you guys got a lot of stuff there, and so to me that was awesome to see that, because talk about passion, talk about really going for your goal. No excuses. You said we have a basement, we're gonna fill it up. And also I have to give a shout out there to Leo, because you were showing some music. So why don't you just a little bit talk about what is it that you do? Are you just making some beats, or what are you doing?
Oh, you talking about the little story video?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Now that was a story video. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I mean, I've always been involved in music. So Brittany was an accountant. I did real estate, but before that, like straight out of college, I worked in music production. Did production for like Gloria Estefan, Pitbull, Flo Rida, a bunch of other guys. So I'm always like doing something musically or recording something. So that little video, I was actually working on like a ratchet turn up version of like Under the Sea.
It was pretty good though. I gotta say, I was like,
project you have come.
Yeah. So yeah,
Awesome.
like we're trying to think of like cool little like parody videos to do to kind of like just go viral or whatever. So I was gonna do a Under the Sea, like imagine if like Migos or like Travis Scott did like a Under the Sea.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah,
That's
was like
awesome.
yeah.
No, that's so cool. I can't wait for that. Now, the reason why I brought that up is like for me personally, I'm a musician. I love music as well, and for like you're like in a whole different level than I am. But the reason why I brought that up is because I thought that was really cool. How even though you are still doing something you're passionate about, which is the shirts and doing Main Street Press, and you guys are successful at what you're doing, you still have another passion that you work on. And I think that's important because a lot of people, even and not to say it's because you're gonna become a recording artist and anything like that, but just because you enjoy doing it. I think it's important because like you just said, sometimes you can feel a little burnt out. Sometimes you can get and it's important to find those other things to kind of still release and let you enjoy what being creative, but in a different way. So I think because a lot of people, especially with all the stuff going on now with like Gary Vee and stuff, I like them all, but they do this whole like hustling nonstop, 24-hour hustling. I'm flying Twitter, and I'm like, that's awesome. But
Who was this you were talking about?
Oh, Gary Vaynerchuk, and a lot of other people who are like that. They're basically like entrepreneur coaches, I guess.
Oh, yeah. It's like no time for sleep.
Exactly. Now that,
get out of here.
Like I said, that's fine. You know what? That's cool. But to me, it's important to show like you can't do that. You know what I mean? 24/7.
No.
You will.
If you watch our stories, I'll put a snap of like our dogs and we're like getting ready to go to bed. Like, dude, if I'm not sleeping, like when we first started, there were nights where we were like up all night and stuff because we didn't really how to do it. But and you're 100% right. Like if I'm not creating musically, then I get stressed out on like the graphic side and printing. So you got to like balance it out.
Have another creative outlet.
Awesome. So I want to say again, thank you so much for being on. I had a blast. You guys. Totally awesome. I first, like I said, kind of discovered you guys through Yoho Disney with Matt and Charity, who are on the show, and they, of course, are great. But you guys also have come on and really, to me, got me pumped and excited about what's possible with an idea. I personally have ideas that I'm working on that I kind of put on the back shelf that you guys are kind of like pumping me up for. So I'm like, all right, let's do this. And I want the listeners to have that same kind of drive. I want them to get that passion to say, you know what, here's an idea, let's go for it. Especially because you don't know where it's going to take you. It doesn't have to be the same thing you're starting with. It could take you somewhere else that's going to be better. But before we do kind of leave here, I do want to I always like to let the guests leave a couple words of inspiration and encouragement of just letting the listeners know why it's important to get up and try at least toward that goal or passion they might have.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, you just never know where it's going to lead you. So if you have an idea, you're passionate about something, go for it. What's the worst that could happen? At least you gave it a shot, you gave it a try, see where it leads. You'll never know unless you try.
Yeah, I just keep picturing Shia LaBeouf going like, "Do it, do it." No, you have to try it. Like I've always lived my life with every endeavor has always been like, I don't want to leave a what if on the table. Like, oh, what if I would have done this and it would have been successful, or I could have been this and I could have been that. So just do it. Like Brittany said, what's the worst that can happen? You lose a few dollars. Okay, well then money comes and money goes. The one thing you don't get back is like your youth and your energy and your health. So just put it to use and do something good.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for coming on. I really, really had a great time having you on.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
It's always easy to focus on the fears. It's always easy to focus on those excuses, and they're legitimate excuses. I mean, it's funny because you have, to me, like two kinds of people, right? You have people who are like all the guests that we've had on this show, who say they have this, passion and they have a choice to pursue it or not, and they do it. And all of a sudden, they just kind of keep growing and get stronger and better at what they're doing. And then you have another set of people who probably will never be on, a podcast, or won't be on a blog, or won't have their own business, or they won't achieve their weight loss goals, or have the family that they're trying to do, because they don't pursue it. They thought the idea, they had the passion for it, they had the drive for it, but they got that fear and they allowed it to stop them. And it's something that, I've said a lot on the podcast, and it's something that, we have these guests just for that reason. And they don't necessarily know each other. It's not like they call and said, Leo and Britt didn't call Lou Mangello and say, hey, Lou, what do you think I should say? Can you give me some pointers on what I should tell? No. But they all have the same thing in common, which is they came up to this point of a what if moment. And they said, what if I did try it? Like, what's the worst that's going to happen? And I understand that could be different for some. For some people, that what if could be insanely, scary. So much more scary than, somebody else who maybe just wants to open up an Instagram account and just see what happens. But the point is, we're all going to face that moment. And it's important for us to not let that fear stop us and really try it and really go for it and just see what happens, see where it takes us. I'm very honored to be able to run this show and have these awesome guests like Leo and Britt, and like Megan, and like Lou, and everybody else that we've had, because to me, not only is it inspiring to me, of course, but I'm really, really honored that I'm hoping it's inspiring you guys, the listeners, that you guys are also saying, you know what, I have this what if moment, or you know what, I did have a what if moment, and I think I'm gonna go for it now. I'm not gonna let this stop me anymore, and I hope that it's getting you guys to really open up your mind on what truly can happen if you don't let fear stop you, and you take that what if moment and you say, I'm going to see what happens. So I really hope you enjoyed today's show. I know it was a little longer than usual, but hey, y'all got plenty of time to listen to it. So be sure to listen to it. Share it with a friend that could get some value and inspiration. That helps out the show so much. Of course, check out all of the show notes from the Main Street Press in the post here or on the podcast. So thank you guys again for listening. I look forward to talking with you tomorrow. Have a great night, day, weekend whenever you're listening to this. And as always, stay magical.
This was the Talk About the Magic podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to rate, subscribe, and share with a friend. Thanks for listening, and as always, stay magical.